Hello, people. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are. Hope you're having a great day, and hope you had a great day. Sorry, if you came back. So today we are speaking about the news of Arsenal Football Club after the game that we toyed against Man City. I already made a video on what I thought about it. The game was not finished when I started the live. I got a live reaction on the Martinelli's goal, and now we are talking about what's happening next. Today, a year after the game, a day after the game, we now have the news that Noni Madueke is injured, and it was weird for me the fact that Mikel Arteta decided to change the guy because he was the best player we had in the first half, and Saka just came of an injury. And we had to play Saka in the second half. It was very weird. Some people saw Madueke limping, and there was a reason for it, and the reason was Noni Madueke got an injury on his knee. So, fortunately, it's not an ACL injury. Some people was talking about on social media that it was an ACL injury. Thankfully, it's not. So, we are going to have Noni Madueke this season again. So let me just read. I haven't read the news, but supposedly he's gonna miss around 11 matches, which I think, depending on the injury, is a good time for recover. Let me just read out. Noni Madueke said to miss around 11 matches for Arsenal following his knee injury suffered against Pep Guardiola's side, Man City. Sources have told TRB football chief correspondent and that would see him miss 6 Premier League fixtures during that spell, including Newcastle, Fulham, Crystal Palace and Sunderland, and the return date will be after the October international break at the North London derby. I think we're going to get, what's the name? We're going to get Havertz for that game as well, if I'm not mistaken. So those are the games that he is gonna miss: Newcastle, West Ham, Fulham, Crystal Palace, Burnley, Sunderland, and Spurs. Hopefully he's gonna return for Spurs, but again, he doesn't have to start the game. And we're probably gonna have Saka if he doesn't pick up an injury during those fixtures. Now, moving on. Arsenal are confident that the injury is not an ACL. We just confirmed that the injury is not an ACL, so that is very good. You don't want to see players having that type of injury, which is basically career-ending injury. I've seen it on different sports, football and also basketball. When players have an injury like that, it's very tough for them to recover. Some have done, but it's very tough. Not the 100% of those players that get an ACL injury are going to come back playing the same way or at their prime. Is going to be very tough to recover. Thankfully, it's not an ACL. I believe that Noni Madueke is one of the best players that we have at the moment, attacking-wise. I've been very impressed. And also, I gotta say, there is a reason why some Chelsea fans were not happy with the negotiations between Arsenal and Chelsea and the fact that he left the club. Because the only thing he's missing for me is that end product. Some of those passes, some of those shots, he's missing the end product. But other than that, he has been very good, very versatile. He creates danger. He takes defenders one-on-one and lets them... he wins those duels. He's very good. And I've seen a guy that is really someone can improve even more. Can bring competition to Saka as well. To be honest, Saka and Noni Madueke, they both don't look that different. If anything, Noni Madueke looks for me more of a threat than Bukayo Saka. Maybe it's because Saka has been injured for a while, and same situation. He was limping off every single game after the game, during the game. He was not 100% fit. Hopefully he is now, but he's not going to be rushed in future games. Now we have a situation because Saka's coming off an injury and he is the right wing. Noni Madueke, who is another right wing, is injured. So that is a tough scenario, and that is another reason why I wanted Reece Nelson to stay at the club. because Reece Nelson is a guy that is not that different from Saka and Madueke because of the tactics that we play and the football that we develop during the game. We have those guys just run past defenders, cross the ball, or maybe pass it backwards. That's everything they do. And there's a reason why Saka and Madueke don't look that different, and it's because of it, because the tactics. The manager wants the right wings and left wings to run, pass it backwards, run, make a cross, try to make a killer pass. That's how we play. And I believe Reece Nelson, Saka, and Madueke had, the three of them, qualities to win duels one-on-one against defenders. But now we basically are just having this recovery for Saka, and Madueke just went down. So we're still in the same situation as last season. Hopefully Max Daumann is going to be the guy to help take those minutes off Saka. He already played against Leeds. It was against Leeds, if I'm not mistaken. No, it was the game that Gyökeres got a penalty. So it was against Leeds, if I don't remember correctly. But yeah, Max Daumann should be the guy now to help take those minutes of Saka. Hopefully Saka is not going to be that with those amounts of minutes carrying on his back, because he has played a bunch and basically has had no rest whatsoever. So we need someone that we can play and give those minutes to Saka to rest. So maybe some games that Saka might not be the guy that we want to play. And I'm talking about the early games of the FA Cup or the Carabao Cup, in which we are going to have to face, tough oppositions, but not as if they were, Premier League contenders. So Max Daumann, I think he has the quality to play in the Premier League. He has the quality to start as well. And he's a guy that is going to help Saka get those minutes off. And it's the same situation as I said with Martinelli. If you play Max Daumann off the bench, that is going to be trouble for the oppositions, because he is a young kid that looks strong, looks dangerous, very fast, and has a stamina. So you're playing a guy off the bench that has the ability to change the course of the game and maybe score, create a dangerous chance, create an assist. You have a guy in Max Daumann that is very young, he needs to develop, he's still raw, but that raw talent makes him more dangerous. So it's a great opportunity for him, and hopefully Arteta will take this to play the kid. But we gotta say, I see a pattern here of how Mikel Arteta's team develops every single season. Looks to me like every season we have injuries. Every season we are having, let's just call it injury problems. Ben White went down already. Timber, he was kind of injured at some point, but he was able to play. Saliba already went down. He just recovered, played against Man City. Who else? Norgard had an injury. Supposedly Nkapie now has an injury. Saka was injured. Now Noni Madueke. And we are still having issues with Havertz and Gabriel that are not returning to the team. So I see a pattern of Mikel Arteta not being able to manage the players. He could have just easily avoided the Saliba injury if he just didn't play Saliba at the start against Liverpool. Supposedly we had a great transfer window, and we had the perfect guy to replace Saliba in Mosquera. We have seen how good he's been since he came into the team. Why can't the manager see that at the start of the game? Like, you train with the players, you see Mosquera every single time. Saliba gets injured on the warm-up for the Liverpool game, and you have to make the decision to bench him and then play Mosquera because you don't want your players to play injured. And he still went with Saliba. He got knocked out in the first 4 minutes of the game, and we had to play Mosquera anyways. Why is the manager not being proactive and try to protect the players? You have to protect them. And Saliba had to be protected in that game. Still, he played him through injury. Odegaard, I forgot to mention Odegaard. He was injured as well. He's still injured. He had not recovered for the shoulder injury. You play him at... what was the game? Well, he was injured. He was on the bench. You played him at Liverpool. And then a couple of games went by. You play him again. First time he falls on his shoulder again, he gets injured. The guy was not fit. So you are still playing players through injury. You did the same for Timber last season. Timber was playing on adrenaline. Noni Madueke, supposedly again on warm-up, had an issue. And you play him in the first half. Why? It's a pattern of things that tells me that this manager doesn't understand that he has to correct his fucking mistakes. And that's the issue I have. We've seen Arteta time and time again throughout these 6 seasons making the same mistakes over and over again. And that's a red flag. As a manager, you don't want to make the same mistakes every single time. And he does it. He has injured players more than they are because he's playing players through injury. And this is the 6th season and it's the same stuff. And I said yesterday, I think I commented that on X, but this is the 6th season of the manager. And we're still talking about him not playing the best 11 at the start of a game. That happened against Liverpool, happened against Bilbao, and happened at Man City. And we paid the price against Liverpool and City, which are the main rivals that we have this season to win the title. If you want to make a statement, you want to beat Liverpool away from home at Anfield. If you want to make a statement, you beat Man City just like last season 5-1. But the guy decides to play the same fucking midfield that doesn't work and has not worked for a while because he wants to prove a point wrong. What a spoiled brat this manager is. You're making the same mistakes over and over again, and as a manager, you have to learn from the fucking mistakes, and he's not learning from them. That's an issue that I have with this manager. And that's a worry for me, because if you have a guy that supposedly has to lead you to the promised land, which is a trophy, a big trophy, it could be the Champions League, it could be the Premier League, you want the guy to learn from his mistakes and avoid them. One of those mistakes was clear, don't play 3 centre mids in a 3-man midfield. Play 2 centre mids and the attacking player, which is Eze in this case. You didn't start Eze at Liverpool. You realised the mistake. We were not creative. We were basically parking the bus. And he decides to do the same thing against Bilbao. We were trying the game until he changed the midfield. And he figured out that that was the solution, because clearly when he made those changes, Trossard and Martinelli were involved, both in the 2 goals we scored. And now, against City, he goes and does the same fucking mistake. He's still playing Merino, Subimendi and Royce. So 3 games in a row, he has done the same thing. The same thing that didn't work out on those 3 games. And it seems to me like he wants to prove a point. Like he wants to say on one of those interviews, see, I told you. I decided to play that midfield because I knew it was going to work. Well, fucking manager. The time to win is now. You cannot be testing things this season, because this season you have to deliver. And the way to deliver is to win every single game. And I've seen people commenting on X as well, saying that that we don't have like let me just check right here on my profile, because I know I replied to some of them. This one, I'm sorry, but this is not a poor start. It is a poor start. Why? Because Liverpool are direct rivals to win the league. We lost to them, and we had them. They were there for the taking, and we couldn't beat them. Why? Because of the manager's lineup. Then we played against Nottingham Forest. That lineup worked. He played the same lineup, I believe, and it was Nottingham Forest. Yeah, no. Martin Odegaard had to play, I believe, on that game, if I'm not mistaken. He went in against Liverpool, but well, you can see that we played against Nottingham Forest. The lineup worked, cool. Nottingham Forest is a team that they are not a bad team, but they are having struggles this season. Then we played against Athletic Club. The same midfield trio didn't work out, and you had to change. You had to play Trossard, you had to play Martinelli, and those two scored the goals, basically. And then you went on against City and played the same fucking lineup. And it didn't work out, because last season we beat them 5-1. This season they are worse than last season, and we couldn't beat them. It is a poor start when you consider the fact that we had one of the best transfer windows before the season started, and we cannot beat our direct rivals to a title. We went away at Liverpool and we couldn't beat them, and they were there for the taking. Same thing against City. They came into our ground and we tied, and that tie is like a loss. Now we are 5 points off the first place, which is Liverpool. You see, when you win a title, you have to basically try and make it perfect. And Pep Guardiola said it, Arteta said it as well. You have to search on the interviews he has spoken about. If you want to win the league, you have to be perfect. Because if you lose points, the fine margins, yeah? To win the Premier League, there are fine margins. We basically lost 2 fine margins right here. A game that we could have won, the Liverpool game, in which we went and parked the bus and were not creative, couldn't play to our strikers' strength. And now City, in which the same situation happened. You had to change the lineup to score a goal in the dying minutes. Imagine if you played that lineup at the start. We would have beat them at least 2-1, 3-1, easily. Man City are having struggles this season, and you decide to go and play the game defensively and conservative at your ground. It is a disgrace, it is a disappointment. You cannot expect a team to win a league or a trophy, a big trophy, playing football like that. I mean, yeah, we can beat Nottingham Forest, but we cannot beat Liverpool, we cannot beat Man City playing like that, because those two teams are going to punish you. And for Man City, a tie at our ground, the way we have been playing against them in previous years, this feels like a win. For Liverpool to beat us the way they did, with a free kick after having such a boring football game, and also it was a very tight game. And for them to win that game against us, that gives them the edge. Because those fine margins are what divide champions from contenders. We are a contender at the moment. And those games that are very close, like the one against Liverpool, are games that you want to win if you want to win the league. You want to make a statement, you go out and win that game away from home. We couldn't do it. And we had every single chance to do it. Why? Because of the manager. And it seems to me every single time, people, every single time, every single season, and we have to speak about the manager making the same mistakes he has made previously. Playing players of injuries, playing the wrong lineup from the start, not playing through the right tactics to beat a team, and going defensive when we cannot go defensive. And you just have to look at the history of this manager throughout these 6 seasons. It's like that every single time, except for the first season in which he won a trophy. Why? Because he decided to park the bus against a Man City team that was clearly better than us. And he had Aubameyang, Maitland-Niles, and like I said, play counter-attacking football, and Aubameyang took the advantage of it. So those things, those good things that this manager had in the first season, basically he just erased them. And now it's the 6th season that he has been our manager. in charge of our club, and we're talking about him making the same mistakes over and over again, which is very worrying. I gotta say, guys, that is a major red flag on the manager. You want to have a manager that makes as few mistakes as possible. And we have a guy that does mistakes every single time and keeps doing the same mistakes over and over again to try and prove a point. Like, bro, just swallow your fucking pride and play so that the team can fucking win. Swallow your pride, bro. What's the issue? Why is this manager such a fucking child and doesn't learn from his mistakes? And we just clearly saw that. We have Marino, Zubimendi and Royce. They played together, I think, 9 games and got only 1 win out of those 9 games. And it was against Ipswich. You have to learn. You already had 9 games. And before Liverpool and City, and I think Nottingham Forest as well, you had 6 games in which those 3 guys... Sorry, no, I just said something stupid. No, it was Mikel Merino and Declan Rice have played 9 games together, and they just got 1 point. Sorry, 1 win. So 3 points. You had already 6 games before this season, to just know that Merino and Rice don't work together. And you already played Zubimendi, Merino, and Martin Odegaard in the midfield, and those 3 worked. Why don't you play Merino, Zubimendi, and Eze at the start of the game against City? If you already had 6 games before in which Rice and Merino were not good enough and only got us 1 win. So you have to learn from those mistakes. You already had 6 games as proof that they were not good enough together, Rice and Merino. And the only opposition they could beat was Ipswich, that got relegated. So 6 games for you to understand that those 2 together don't work. And you went on and did the same thing this season and it hasn't worked out. You have to learn from the mistakes that you make. And this manager is so eager to try and prove a point with his decisions that he doesn't realize that he's making a mistake over and over and over again. And when you have a manager like that, you're not going to win anything. And you cannot say that we have won something with Mikel Arteta because we only got 1 FA Cup and it was not his team. 5 years from that FA Cup and we're still in the same place. We're still losing to title challengers. We are still 2nd place after 3 seasons. This is the 4th one, still 2nd place. We lost an 8-point lead that no team in the Premier League has ever lost. We were the first team to lose an 8-point gap on that period. And Man City got the title. It is a disgrace when you think that. And it's also very wrong that we have a manager that does the same thing over and over again because he cannot learn from his fucking mistakes. That is a major red flag. You want a manager that learns from the issues that has had on previous seasons, because that is a part of developing. That is a big part on evolving. And we want to keep evolving if you want to win the league. And it seems to me like we are regressing. Saka looks robotic. Martinelli doesn't look good enough. Martinelli is a centre forward. It's very easy to see that. And he's still playing on the left under this manager. Can't this manager see that Martinelli scores every single time he's in the centre of the pitch? We can all see that, except for the manager. Because this Mikel Arteta guy is making the same mistakes over and over again. Because he wants to see only the things he wants to see. He wants to prove a point wrong. And we are the ones being affected by his decisions. Swallow your pride, Mikel Arteta, and play so that the fucking team can win. At the end, the team was created in 1886. We've had a bunch of managers, a bunch of fans, a bunch of players before Mikel Arteta. And we as fans are not learning and doing the same mistakes over and over again because we were... And I'm not talking about myself, but Arsenal fans in general were in love with Arsene Wenger, and that led us to an atrocious rebuild. We had Unai Emery, we had Mikel Arteta, and we are in the same fucking spot that Arsene Wenger left us. Title challengers, top 4 challengers, no trophies. We're looking the same thing as when Arsene Wenger was in charge. And let's be honest here, if you give those players that we have right now to Arsene Wenger, he's winning a title. He's winning a Champions League. Because we have the caliber and the quality of players. But the manager is what's holding us back. With the guys that we have, we should be playing free-flowing attacking football, and it doesn't look like that. It doesn't look like that. So I'm gonna play here what this fucking manager has said and comment on that. Just a moment.
Well, I'm extremely proud of the players and the team. That's the overall feeling, and very disappointed with the results.
Can I ask, when you were sort of watching on and living the experience, did it sort of feel a little bit like last season's game at the Etihad, but with the roles reversed, and that there was one team that had come to really attack and push on, and maybe City were just playing to hold on?
No, because again we played, I think, 54 minutes with 10 men, so that's a different story. The pride that I feel is to do and to play and to dominate the game the way we did it against this team, but with 11 players.
John?
Let me pause there. So you cannot win a game with 10 players. Is it a crime? I've seen you park the balls against Liverpool, having 11 players. You just did it this season. We are known to be the anti-football team now, which was not something we were known for. We used to play very good football under Arsene Wenger. We even played good football under Unai Emery. And now we're playing anti-football, and after 1 million spent, we are doing long throws to see if someone can get a header. The truth is we park the balls most of the time. And he's failing to recognize that.
Mikel, you made 2 changes at half-time. Obviously, your substitutes at the end also made a difference. Was there an admission there with your first half-time changes that maybe the team selection in the first instance wasn't quite?
Not too easy to say that. I think it's very clear what we wanted to do. Very well, we started the game. I think we completely dominated. I think after they scoring the goal without doing absolutely nothing before that, we were a bit shaky for 5 or 7 minutes, and after that we still got grip of the game again and start to dominate it. And in the second half it was a continuation of that with one different player and then with 2 or 3 different players.
Is it unfair to characterise it as a...
How can our manager say we dominated the game? We never dominated the game. We couldn't shot on target. Noni Madueke was the only one trying something out, and the only great killer pass he made, there was no one there to close it. We had a non-existing midfielder area, or non-existent whatsoever, because Mikel Merino was not there to finish the chance. Declan Rice, I don't know where the fuck he was. Same thing with Subimendi. And literally, guys, you have to see, if you can watch the replay of the game, please do. Noni Madueke had a great chance. He played a killer pass that went literally straight to the halfway, to the half moon of the City area, and there was no midfielder to finish that chance. It was such a disgrace, and it has to do with the tactics of the manager. You cannot say you dominated a game. The fact that we had more possession doesn't tell me we dominated a game. If you dominate a game, you have shots, you shoot on target, you win a game, or you score goals. If you dominate a game, You basically play at the opposition's half every single time. With intent, with danger. And we couldn't do that. You couldn't do that anywhere in the first half. There is a reason why he decided to change the lineup, because he got it wrong. But again, we have a manager that is failing to recognize he got that wrong. He's getting his decisions wrong. I'm telling you guys, it's so frustrating that this is the 6th season of this manager, and we're still talking about the guy not picking the right 11. How can we be talking about that after 6 seasons? A manager that you don't know, like, I know what lineup he's going to pick. I knew from the start Marino, Subimendi and Rice were going to start against Man City. And if I knew it and the fans knew it, definitely Pep Guardiola knew it. And he took advantage of it, and that's why Man City scored. Why can't this guy understand? That's the right word. Why can't Mikel Arteta understand that he got it wrong and that the lineup that he used is not the correct lineup? Because again, he used it against Liverpool and Bilbao and it didn't work. And you cannot take those chances to try and win a league. You cannot bet on things that don't work out to win a title. And there's a reason why we are 5 points behind Liverpool now. And those 5 points are going to be very tough to recover from. Because Liverpool, at the moment, they don't look like losing a game. And they have a manager that has already had the experience of winning a title. That experience counts. The guy, Mikel Arteta, got the lineup wrong, and he's failing to admit that. We didn't dominate the game. We had more possession, but that doesn't mean we dominated the game, because we didn't have intent. The chances we created were a failure. And Man City got the fucking goal.
As a safety first lineup, do you think there was enough attacking talent, considering the attacking talent that you possess in there?
I leave that to you. But for me, it's a lot of attacking players in that team, yeah.
Miguel, independent?
Miguel, were you surprised with how withdrawn Pep went? Because we've never really seen that from him before.
I think everybody tries to do its best to get the result that they want, so it's fine.
Why are the fucking journalists so obsessed with Pep Guardiola's way of football? We know Man City are not as good as they were last season. They don't have the team to play the way of football they used to play. They are not as strong as they were last season and the seasons before. He's trying to do what he can to win a game. He came into our ground, got the first goal, and then parked the bus. What's the issue with that? I don't have an issue with that as long as my team wins. And the fact here is, because we got the lineup wrong, because we have the manager that is such a stubborn and doesn't understand his own mistakes. That's why we couldn't beat Man City. It's not the fact that Man City parked the bus. That is not a trophy. Those are not 3 points. If you're going to tell me we're going to get 3 points because Man City parked the bus, I'll be happy. But no, that's not how football works. The truth is, we got 1 goal, they got 1 goal, and we had 1 point each. And now we're 5 points behind Liverpool. That's the truth. So I don't care if we made Pep Guardiola to park the bus. We had to win the game. That's more of a reason for me to think Arsenal had to win the game. More of a reason for me to think we got the lineup incorrect from the start. And that's the disappointment that I have with this manager and the team and the league at the moment. That because of our own decisions, we are losing the title. And those 5 points are going to look so tough to recover from. Because Liverpool, as I just told you, they're not looking like they're going to miss points. They don't look like they're going to tie or lose a game. Because they find a way to get the games for them. They find a way always to win those games. And that's what a title winning team does. A title winning team goes and win a game, and it doesn't matter how they win a game. They just go and do it. I was trying to find here if trying to find the Thierry Henry trending, but
Was
couldn't look like it.
Just tactical, or was he carrying
No, I think he had an issue. He had an issue very early in the match, and he wasn't well enough to continue.
And when Eze came on and played in that more of a central role rather than wide, is that something that you see as being an interesting possibility for using him?
Yes, that's why he played today in that position. Yes.
Okay, San David.
Okay, so you saw Eze as a potential number 10. We know because of your tactics you play with a number 10 every single game. Because that's how you want to fucking play. And you decide to play Mikel Merino, who is not a number 10, in that position. You see what I'm talking about, people? He wants to prove a point wrong to all of us. To pundits, to criticism, to us, fans. And he's sticking to his fucking decision of playing the incorrect player in the incorrect position. Instead of playing the guy that is available, that is way better than all of our number 10s, because he's better than Odegaard, he's better than Waneri. Eze is the new signing, a guy that doesn't need to adapt, because we've seen him before play for Crystal Palace, the way he play, and you decide to stick to your fucking plan of playing Merino because you cannot accept that you're making a mistake. Mikel Arteta was waiting for his beautiful midfield trio to work, and it didn't work. What a surprise. It hasn't worked out for 6 games before with Merino and Rice. Now you think because you have Subimendi it's going to work out, and it doesn't work out. And you have a number 10 to play there, to create danger, to play a killer pass, to make an assist. And we saw the assist he provided to Martinelli, how good he was. But you still decided to play Merino, and because of the answer that you made, I assume that you played Eze on that role in the training ground. And I bet to you it was very easy to understand how good Eze is in that position. Every single person that was there in that training ground was able to see Eze was better as a number 10 except for the manager. And that's why he went with Merino.
With Donnarumma, obviously the PSG in the Champions League last season, he caused you guys a host of problems. Today, he played well again, I thought.
Yeah.
In terms of his play, what does he make of him, especially on set pieces, the way he punches the ball?
He's so dominant in the box, and every ball that is in and around the 6-yard box, his timing, the way he executes the action is super efficient. It's very difficult, and today again he made some very important contributions not to lose the game.
And with Martinelli, were you tempted to possibly?
Not to lose the game. He made important contributions not to lose the game. You see the way he talks. That's how we are playing. We're playing not to lose a game, and people were talking about Thierry Henry for saying that, and they were criticizing and angry on Thierry Henry for that. But if you look at what the manager is saying, he's basically hinting that the way we play translates to what the manager just said, not to lose a game. We played against Liverpool not to lose the game, and we lost it. Today against Man City, we did the same fucking thing. Yesterday against Man City, we did the same fucking thing. We played not to lose the game. And that's why we tied the fucking game. That's why we have lost 5 points since the season started. You cannot go against these teams that you have to create. You have to make a statement. And you cannot go against those teams and create a statement by tying or losing away from home. You go and make a statement by winning every single game you play against those teams. And there is a reason why we are 5 points behind. Why? Because Liverpool is a team that can do those statements. They went away at Newcastle and they won the game. And I'm telling you people, we're not gonna win against Newcastle if we play the same fucking lineup. He is gonna use the best midfield trio that he has available. I don't think so. Maybe he's gonna do it because every single person right now is criticizing him for using the midfield trio of Subimendi, Royce and Merino. So maybe now he's gonna see and He's not going to accept that he got it wrong, but now he's maybe going to play Eze, because Eze had a great game and had an assist. But the fact that Eze is not playing, it comes down to Martin Odegaard being the favourite of the manager. There's a reason why he's the captain as well, because he's not captain material. Tony Adams said it, and I agree with Tony Adams. Maybe he's a good professional, and he is a great example for the players around him, but he is not a captain. Gabriel is more of a captain than Martin Odegaard. And now maybe because he's looking at the criticism, he's going to play Eze, Subimendi and Rice, or Eze, Subimendi and Merino. I believe the second one is the better option. Subimendi and Merino, they work very well when they have a creative player in front of them. That creative player is Eze. So, if we want to win at the moment, a great lineup will be Merino, Subimendi and Eze. And I believe that's the same midfield that we played against Nottingham Forest, and it worked. So if you want to win a game, play the lineup that is working. Rice and Subimendi, they don't work out together very well. Rice and Merino doesn't look like is the lineup that is going to help us in the midfield area. So play Subimendi and Merino, and then bring Rice on. There is no shame on benching a player that is 100 million euros. He might be having a tough time. He might be having, to adapt to Subimendi and Merino, but there is no shame on benching Declan Rice. If Merino and Subimendi are the best centre mids at the moment, the best pair of centre mids, you play them together with Eze. Maybe that's what the manager is going to do, because he's being criticised for picking those three of Rice, Merino and Subimendi. So maybe against Newcastle he's going to play that, and he's going to change the midfield, and I'm hoping he does, because you're not going to prove a point by playing the same midfield trio that hasn't worked out game after game after game. You're just going to start losing points. And if we look at our record at Newcastle, it's awful. St James's Park, that is a nightmare for Arsenal. And if you want to make a statement this season, you go out to Newcastle and you win the game. And to win the game, you have to play the best midfield during this season, which is Merino, Subimendi and Eze. Eze is better than Odegaard, but anyways. You play Trossard on the left, Gyökeres or Martinelli as a centre forward, and Saka. Because as of now, Martinelli has had 2 games in which he has scored basically acting as a centre forward. And he is the best striker that we have at the moment. And I'm sorry to Gyökeres. I think he's the best striker. But as of now, the way we play, the way results have come from, they are basically coming from Martinelli attacking on the middle of the pitch. So you want Martinelli to keep doing the same thing. Martinelli is a centre forward. You give that ball to Martinelli one-on-one against the goalkeeper and he's going to score. And it's unfortunate, but Gyökeres right now is not getting the service. And I'm not saying Martinelli is, but the thing is, you just basically throw the ball in the middle of the pitch, and Martinelli is just going to run and get the ball and score a goal. That's the goal he scored against Bilbao. Basically, Trossard just threw the ball and Martinelli picked it up and scored the goal. Eze threw an over-the-top ball in the middle, and Martinelli basically ran past the defender and scored the goal. Let me just check here. Some idiot responding. That's what I was saying. 10 men. 10 fucking men. So basically this is what I was going to talk about. We park in the bus every single time. Man City did the same thing. And my answer is because we have fans like you talking shit on this app, chatting about Man City came here to toy, when we did the same last year at their ground and against Liverpool this season. Which is true. And we have this guy last year at their ground was 11 versus 10 men, and not 11 versus 11. Also checking through Liverpool game, we never really played too defensive. How can we have 48% of the ball possession if we play defensive game then? Possession. We play to our centre backs every single time. Those two centre backs and the goalkeeper are the guys that have the ball most of the times. Watch the possession of the centre backs. Having possession doesn't mean that you play defensive football. Sorry, that you play offensive football. Sorry, that was a fucking take by me. That you play offensive football. What is a way to defend a result? You keep possession. You waste time by passing the ball around. That's how you defend. Because you pass the ball around and you waste time. And you're waiting for the clock to tick down. That's defensive football. Possession doesn't mean you're an attacking team. Let me just cook this motherfucker. Yes. That's the FA Cup. Week 3, August 31st. Yeah, so was like, okay. I wish I had like a heat map. Does this thing has a heat map? Attacking momentum. See how low that is? How awful that is. Attacking momentum. We barely had attacking momentum. 11 shots, 1 on target. That's awful. So, those are the guys that try to defend Mikel Arteta, and it's not working, people. That's the truth. It's not working. The manager is not the best manager that we have at the moment. That we have had for ages. We can have a better manager that does the job. Touches in the opposition box, 29. Why? Because we cross the ball every single time. Look, long balls. 50 long balls. Passes in the final third. That's because of the crosses. Look at the crosses, bro. How can you... That's wrong. I don't think we have... Arsenal... Are we... Oh, okay, that's... Maybe take a look at that. So Liverpool are the green, innit? Maybe I'm wrong, but... Again, 48% of possession. That's not good enough. That doesn't mean you're playing attacking football. But I cannot understand. So Liverpool are the green one. Okay. Yeah, we're taking Arsenal here. 43. So we basically played here most of the times. Maybe I'm wrong. But again, look at the attacking momentum. Basically non-existent. The thing is this the first half? I don't want to code. Maybe this is the first half. And that's the second half. Not quite sure. I need a heat map. That would be better, man. Here it is. Matches, goals, no. But the fact that we had possession, like, that doesn't mean we played attacking football. Having possession is basically keeping the ball at your own ground and keeping hold of the ball and try and waste time and make the clock tick down. So maybe the guy is kind of right, okay, but we didn't look like scoring. We the only ways we had to attack was to shoot away from the goal, and I already made those videos on the Liverpool game, so I'm not gonna stay that much because I have to go as well. But you saw the shots, 1 on target. That was it. 1 shot on target throughout the whole game. and you keep possession to waste time, to protect the ball. Because if the opposition has the ball, that means more chances for the opposition to score a goal. So, again, Arteta sexuals here talking shit. Once again, defending the fucking manager. The truth is, we lost the game and tied another one against direct oppositions to win the league. Also, I just saw the fucking idiot doesn't know anything about football. Because having possession doesn't mean you are an attacking team. It means you're taking care of the ball. Well, yeah, people, I gotta go. On that note, and watching the shit this manager just said, we're basically just confirming that we are playing not to lose a game. That's what we're playing, not to lose a fucking game. And it hurts. It hurts that with the team that we have, we're playing to take care of us not getting beat, instead of going and beat those teams. That's a disgrace. Especially when you have a guy like Victor Gyökeres that just won a Puskas trophy. Like, well, it's not a Ballon d'Or, but he just got the best striker in the world. Basically confirmed. 63 goals, competitive goals, and 17 assists. We have the best striker in the world right now. And we cannot make this guy score goals. We cannot give chances to the best striker in the world. That is the disappointment. It is such a disappointment that we are not playing to this guy's strengths. Victor Gyökeres is the best striker in the world, and we are making him look like the worst. Because we cannot play a pass to him so he can score. It's such a disgrace, people. And on that note, I'm gonna go. Thank you guys for hearing this. Hopefully it's gonna get better than this. And hopefully we're gonna go to Newcastle and play a different style of football, more attacking plays and attacking wise. And we're going to play to Gyökeres' strengths. Hopefully the manager is gonna see the mistakes he's making, and we're going to start playing football the right way. I'm really hoping for it. But on that note, people, I gotta go. Thank you guys for hearing this. Have a great rest of your day. Bye bye.